In this episode of Restore It, I restore this E30 Zimmermann Sport vented and drilled disc and pad kit along with a set of 4 standard E30 calipers. I restored these for a friend who kindly let me make a video on them to keep the content coming whilst I moved back to the UK. Although the pads were old and dirty, they were still pretty much brand new when it came to wear and tear. Before I started dismantling, I gave everything a clean in the parts washer as they were pretty filthy. With the loose dirt off, I then set about completely dismantling each one. Don't worry, I'll only show you one of each. I placed a piece of wood in the way to prevent the pistons from getting damaged and used compressed air to force them out. I then removed everything else that was attached to the calipers and adapters. I did the same for both sides, front and back. With everything dismantled, I laid it out to have a good look at what I was working with. Before we continue, I have a quick word from our sponsor, YouGov. With YouGov, you can share your opinion by taking online surveys to earn points and receive real cash rewards. YouGov has polls and surveys about politics, public affairs, products and brands. For example, right now, they have surveys about unemployment, climate change, the current election and tons more. You can put your points towards gift cards from the likes of Amazon, Nike and Best Buy, or simply take it out in cash straight to your bank, so you can spend your extra cash however you like. I'll be spending mine on new t-shirts for the workshop as I've pretty much ruined all of my old ones. Big thanks to YouGov for sponsoring this episode. Scroll down to the description after the video and click the link to start making money. With everything apart, I could fully clean each piece separately. The calipers needed blasting, and so I used polydough mouldable plastic to cover the cylinders and the holes for the brake fluid and bleeder screws. Using boiling hot water, I melted down the amount of pellets I needed, added a colour and quickly moulded it into the shape I wanted before it set rock hard. With everything plugged up, I took them to the blasting cabinet and removed the paint and rust. With this current setup, it's almost impossible to film the process, especially when I use the more powerful pop blaster and larger gun. In the new workshop, I'll have proper extraction so you'll be able to see everything that happens. After much blasting, they were out and looking about 95% done. I had to use a heat gun to soften the poly dough enough to be able to remove it. I used a steel wire wheel on the bench grinder to remove any spots of rust or paint that I missed in the blaster. I then finished them off with a rotary tool and some steel wire bits, being careful not to damage the inside of the cylinders. Although the centres of these discs had a zinc coating on them, it wasn't what it used to be, and so I thought I'd cover them up in a heat resistant paint to keep them looking nicer for longer. Next were the calipers and adapters themselves, all of which needed masking. As they were ready to go in the spray booth, the discs had just come out and could be demasked, possibly the most satisfying part of the process. A final wipe with quartz silicone remover to remove any dust, oils or grease, and they were ready for the heat resistant yellow paint that Dimitri had gone for. After 2 coats of yellow, I let them dry whilst I cracked on with something else. That something else was the pistons, bolts, bleeder screws and slide pins, all of which had some light surface rust on them which needed removing. With that surface rust gone, I painted the inside of the pistons to keep them from rusting again anytime soon. I then lacquered the calipers and adapters with 2 coats of heat resistant clear paint. Once they were fully dry, I could remove the masking and finish off the final task. That task being the zinc plating of the bleeder screws. After letting them dry, everything was restored or replaced. All of the seals, rubbers and caps were replaced with a kit specifically for E30 brakes. Finally, I could rebuild everything ready for Dimitri to fit to his touring. So this is what Dimitri gave me, and this is what I gave back to him. Big thanks if you made it to the end, and just a quick update before I go. The content might be a bit random until I start the new workshop build series, and then also get back into the E30s. But thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.